Okay, here we have a conversation between Stacy Robinson of the 8-month-old Raleigh Ledger. Stacy has stepped out and started a brand new venture, a new newspaper in this day and age. And Fritz Arrowsmith, who started publishing the Solon Economist in Iowa 60 years ago. And they're going to talk a little bit about the newspaper business. And clearly it's a lot different now than it was then. But so I'm going to put the floor over to the two of you.
Okay. So now how long did you run the newspaper?
Oh, that one particular one we only had about 7 years, I think.
Okay. Did you sell it or did you?
We sold it, and then we sold it to some other people, yes. Anyway, the interesting thing is I was telling you about the machine we had to run it. We had no employees to start with. We had the equipment we used took up a room that was about 30 by 60 feet.
30 by 60?
And 2 years ago, I was back visiting the newspaper, and they were publishing a newspaper about the size of your paper. But they had a little room about 10 by 15 room.
10 by 15, really?
With three, I think they had three, but they had three, what do you call them?
Machines? The typing?
Computers.
Typewriting machines,
Computers.
yes. So that's the difference.
Now, had you been in publishing before you purchased that community newspaper?
No, I just worked for newspapers around the state.
Okay. What did you do for those newspapers? Were you a journalist?
Or? I did mechanical work. I was in the composing room. I worked for 4 or 5 weekly newspapers and then went to Council Bluffs, Iowa, working a small daily, and then to Omaha after the war in a fairly large newspaper.
Now, what year did you retire from that? You said you sold the newspaper after about 7 years, so sometime in the mid-50s, is that right?
Oh, we sold that newspaper in 1960, 62, 63.
Would have been before that because you bought it in 48.
Yeah, 48. Well, in 50. In the 50s we sold it. And went to, and I worked in a labor paper in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, for a few months, and then we bought another newspaper in Wilton.
With community newspapers back then, were they political, or were they? Because I know a lot of newspapers now, community newspapers especially, have taken that slant. Ours does not, but
yeah. Well, the only thing I can tell you about is that one particular. We weren't political, no. We run something. We didn't have an editorial as such. My wife wrote a column, but strictly chit-chat.
Yeah, there was a lot of who had dinner at whose house and social news, right?
Social
yeah,
news.
Well, the newspaper was just social news, yes, weddings. And occasionally we'd have a story about something that was going on. Of course, the city, in the town, there was not a lot of politics. Pretty much, the town we were in was 90% Catholic.
Was it? So 90% Catholic. So you said you had a circulation of 700, 800?
About 700.
About 700? Were community newspapers back then, it seems one trend that, and you did this a lot longer than I did, so forgive me for saying, but I think community newspapers have always been, they've traded hands very quickly, which made them something of an investment.
They did what?
They became something of an investment.
Oh yes, and we lived, investment, we lived on it.
Was the idea to sell it initially, or did that just come about?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was asking, when you first bought it, was the idea to build it up and then maybe sell it? Is that kind of investment?
Well, not particularly. We just wanted a newspaper.
Yeah.
I think what you said in the first video that you did is that after a certain amount of years, it just wasn't as much of a challenge anymore, right? Okay. We're gonna stop.
Yeah.